Hey, good evening. At this time, we want to call to order our public hearing at 6:30 p.m. This is a public hearing for our debt service appropriation. Dr. Balmer, do you want to take a few minutes?
Sure. So this additional appropriation that we are seeking is for our debt service fund, which is one of our two funds. This is the debt payments we make for Silver Creek. Essentially, the additional appropriation, which is the authority to spend, we're asking for an additional $120,392. That is because of when we adjusted our 2024 budget, we reduced our operating balance to adjust our tax rate for our taxpayers that aligned with the budget hearings. And when we did that, the DLGF also cut the appropriation amount. So these were dollars that we were already planning to spend. It's just when that appropriation was cut, it shortened us the authority that we needed to make the debt service payments. So therefore, we're going back to the DLGF. We have put in our notice, and we'll resubmit to the DLGF to ask them to ask for this additional appropriation so we can make our debt service fund payments in full for 2024.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Balmer? This time we'll open up to public comment. We will close public comment, and we will also close the public hearing at 6:32. At this time at 6:32, I'd like to open our regular scheduled board meeting. At this time, we'll call this meeting to order. If we could, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Ms. McDaniel, and invocation by Dr. Bond.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we approach Thanksgiving, we just want to give thanks for all the wonderful things that are happening here at Silver Creek. We pray for your wisdom as we continue to do our best to move our district forward. Help us all to continue to stay passionate about making a positive difference in the lives of our students, do our very best to educate, encourage, and prepare them for a successful future. We are thankful for all that you have done, that you do, and will do for Silver Creek. In Jesus' name, amen.
Our mission statement: Silver Creek School Corporation will operate with integrity, providing a safe, welcoming, and inclusive culture for our Dragon family. Through our dedication to academic excellence, we empower everyone to achieve their highest potential. As stewards for our stakeholders and community, we are committed to acting with transparency and accountability.
Thank you. Roll call. Mr. Basham.
Here.
Ms. McDaniel.
Here.
Ms. Franklin.
Here.
Mr. Groen.
Present.
And I am also present. We have quorum. Dr. Briggs, emergency additions and revisions to the agenda.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I do have a few recommendations for revisions to the agenda. The first one is under number 7, consent agenda, under letter B, personnel, under number 2, classified, under number 1, appointments. Recommend adding letter C, Michelle Ermatinger Salas, girls wrestling coach, Silver Creek High School, ECA, effective date November 19th, 2024. Second revision would be letter D in that same section, Cheryl Grulick, bus driver, transportation, position control 70134, effective November 19th, 2024. And then the last recommendation to the agenda, which isn't an item of substance, it's more of an organizational item, but under number 8, discussion action items, under letter B, action items, we have 2 items listed there. Both of those should be voted on separately. So I would recommend under number 1 that we put the approval for the motion, the second, and the vote, just like number 2 is there. And that's it for recommendations to the agenda.
All right, you've heard Dr. Briggs's emergency additions and revisions to the agenda. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Ms. McDaniel seconds. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up, we have approval of minutes from October 22nd, regular school board meeting, the 22nd work session, the 22nd executive session, in addition to the November 6th special school board meeting and the November 6th executive session meeting. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So moved.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Dr. Briggs, we have a couple of recognitions tonight.
Yes, we have one recognition. We want to invite up Silver Creek Middle School Principal Christy Nunn.
And I'm going to invite up Officer Cordy with us. Officer Cordy retired from our SRO a couple of Fridays ago. And I just wanted to take a minute to recognize all of the work he's done and to recognize some of the things that most people don't recognize or realize what Officer Cordy has done for Silver Creek Middle School. So go back to about the turn of the century. And that's when Officer Cordy came on as the only SRO officer for Silver Creek Schools. And so he served many schools, and even up until the last couple of years, served both the high school and the middle school. So he was a very busy gentleman. But John has been so much more than that. He has been a model of serve and protect. And I want to give you a few things that you may not know that he has done. He has gone from photo ops and meeting preschoolers to seniors in high school. Again, not going to name dates, but my 3-year-old who's now getting ready to graduate college has a photo op of him when she was 3. So again, making those great community relationships with kids all the way from 3 to seniors in high school. When we struggled to find a suitable DJ for the dance, here became DJ 50, who also doubled as security. So I don't know how we'll ever replace him as far as the DJ goes, and left it all on the floor. If anybody has seen the video of him dancing, schooled all the middle schoolers on that last dance. I'm glad you saved it to the last dance, though. He has been on multiple overnight trips, walked the halls all night long to make sure our kids were protected and safe. Anytime we went out in public, we knew we were safe because Officer Cordy was there. He has supervised ball games. He has played in ball games. He has done well checks, door checks, perimeter checks, and supported with checks of his own to our students for them to be able to participate in things at Silver Creek. So he's made sure buses could begin their routes on time, and fearlessly approached our school lunches and was in every middle school lunch whenever he was at the middle school, and that is a feat. Not only that, but giving high fives to all the kids once they left the lunchroom. So again, thank you for everything that you've done for not only the middle school, but all of Silver Creek schools, all of the students that you've impacted over these last 20 years of your time here. And again, our schools were safer, not only due to your training and your badge, but also because of the relationships you made with our students and our staff. So I'd like to thank you, and if we could give them a round of applause. And I was out, so I didn't get my hug on.
If I could just have 1 second just to add to that. I just want to say, I'm gonna try not to I'll hold back the tears, but you know, John, I consider you a really good friend. And I'll tell you that I wrote you a message and you saw it, I know, but I want everybody to know this. This district as a whole is extremely more protected and safer because of you. And that is because when we started the foundation for Silver Creek, we had to develop our mission and our statement and our values of what we wanted that foundation to really focus on. And one of the conversations that we had when we were doing that was with him. And he said, this school has, areas where it could improve in safety. And he really drove those initial conversations of what that needed to be. And that was in 2017, I think. We had that conversation, and, he kind of gave me a visual of what that looked like. He said, I'm the only SRO here. We have no other police presence. And if I am at the high school for something and there's a problem at the primary, that looks very unsafe. And that was, kind of trending with school shootings becoming prominent and things like that were becoming on the radar. And, you know, he was kind of the voice behind stating that an SRO needed to be in every single building and what that would do to this district as a whole to make us safer. And, you know, selflessly, you know, he said, it may look different for me if those kind of implementations go into place, if there's other SROs here. And I'm thankful for you because you drove that conversation and you made us better. And you will always be the king of the dances. You'll always have the best tunes. But we now have an SRO in every single building. And we didn't know what that looked like in the beginning. Initially, it was just partnering with you and you kind of bridging that gap with Sellersburg Police Department. And we brought in security officers and you said, look, it's more than that even. It's about having an SRO who's in the building, who develops relationships with the kids and modeling behavior. And so you even took it to the next tier. And you really helped formulate a team kind of concept amongst the SROs that are here now. And that also brought in the Clark County Sheriff's Department and the Sellersburg Police Department working together. And those were tough conversations in the beginning because I don't think anybody really had a vision of what it could look like or how we would get the funding to do it. But you stood with me at a booth and at Sellersburg Celebrates, and we raised $75,000 initially to get that started. And so your legacy here will last forever. I can't ever foresee us going back to just having one SRO. And I know personally, as a parent, that was huge. And so I thank you very much for your service here, and we are better for it.
John, there's an old saying that goes, always leave it better than you found it. And this place is better because of you. And there's a lot of kids' lives that you've touched, maybe the kids that you don't know, because you left it better than you found it. And I can't thank you enough for your 20 years of service, not only to Sellersburg Police Department, but also to Silver Creek School Corporation.
And John, I'll hit on everybody else. Can't thank you enough. There are 1,000 things that Miss Nunn left off that list. Just know that we saw you out front of the battling Highway 31. I wasn't the cause of any of those, so I thank you for bringing that up while I'm talking. You know, but we also know that you took your time to also travel back with our kids from state to tournaments you were on their board. I mean, just so many countless different things that you did that maybe a lot of people didn't see. But just like Chris said, you were a role model for those kids. You were a dad to some.
John, I've had the pleasure to know you a lot away from campus too, but the job you've done for us on this campus, it has been stated, will never be forgotten. We are a safer campus with your initial, helping Chrissy's stuff starting it. And I just wish you all the luck on your new endeavor. And like we talked a while ago, the door would always be open if you need to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for your time here. It's been really a pleasure to have you help with dances at the primary even. And I was not jealous of you working out there to get those buses and the cars and everything. I thought of you so often when I would happen to drive by at that time. And I'll be like, I need to bring that man some food or something out here. So thank you so much for all you've done to impact people positively. And just, you will always have such a special place here.
Yeah, Officer Cordy, I'll just add everything it said is so true. But I've had the opportunity to work in a lot of different positions from a teacher and as a principal of Silver Creek Middle School. And I'll tell you, I value all police work and what goes on. There's a big difference in a true SRO. And you are the definition of an SRO, someone that's not only there to protect, but to build relationships and let people you care about them. Your impact will, like I said, it will always be felt. But I want you to know, as a principal leading a building, I can't tell you how reassuring it was to have you there every day. It's all the difference in the world to know you were there for whatever we needed. So thank you for all you've done.
John, I appreciate you. It's been a nice 3 years working with you. I wish you all the best. And you can step up to the mic and say some words if you'd like. You can step up to the microphone and talk to us if you want, say a few words. Or not, you don't have to.
If you don't come to the microphone, Alex will tell you to come to the microphone.
Just really appreciate everybody's friendships. Like I said, I went to these.
Thank you, Alex.
Is this your first board meeting? First one that Alex has been doing?
That might be, since he took over the sound, yes, maybe.
The light.
But yeah, I couldn't have picked a better school to be at all these years, and my family had a lot to do with it, because a lot of those nights that they would call me at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I'd get up off my couch out of my pajamas and I'd come bring those buses in, whether it was state or not. And I wanted to do that. It wasn't that I felt I had to. I wanted to. I love the school. I love all the principals and all the teachers. They've treated me very well here. And it's been a hard last week when I woke up on Monday and wasn't coming here. I felt weird. And, so I can't say enough about everybody, how they've treated me, from Larry Rickmer, Mike Crabtree to Reed Bailey, the ones that's come and gone, and we're still friends to this day. And these are friendships that you build for a lifetime, and I really appreciate how everybody treated me here and have welcomed me in. And if I had it all to do it over again, I would do it hands down. And who knows, like I said, IUS is way different, and you never know. I might be coming back asking for a job. I don't know, So, but no, thank you all so much for all the friendships and all the kind words that you've said for me tonight. I really appreciate you. I'm going to miss everyone greatly, definitely. So, so thank you all so much. All the, Sandy started. We've been Nabby all been here together a long time, and Christy. So thank you all. Miss Glazer, I've been in her class I don't know how many times, talking to her law students, and and Dr. Willman, I only got to spend a very short time with you, but I was at his school DJing too, so I met him before he came here. So I DJed at his school too. So I thought that was a great career to be able to connect with kids, and I've already DJed something actually over the summer at IUS. So, but I did retire the DJ business. Patience Rosen is very mad at me, but I did retire the DJ business. So, but there's not saying that I wouldn't come back for a real special occasion or something. I don't know, as long as I have my equipment. But thank you all so much for everything that y'all have done for me and the kind words. Thank you all.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our Silver Creek High School Academy of Finance.
I think so. You guys don't need, you need the projector?
You need
You
a
have it?
projector or
Okay.
anything?
Great.
It's gonna be tough to follow Officer Cordy, but. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the school board. My name is Ariana Bernard, and this is Caitlin Dahlman and Ruben Lemaster. We are here on behalf of the Silver Creek Academy of Finance. This evening, we are seeking approval for our Academy of Finance seniors to take our annual trip to New York City. But before we do that, we would like to take some time to talk about our academy. First, I would like to discuss the things that we do inside the classroom. At the beginning of each school year, we create resumes and application letters, which are then used when Ms. Glazer invites businessmen and women into the classroom to perform mock interviews with the students. This experience allows students to practice and receive feedback for their interviews. We also have the 3 businesses at Silver Creek. We have the Silver Creek Financial Center, the Dragon Depot, and the Creek Cafe. The Financial Center is a school bank which gives students the opportunity to open accounts to deposit money and withdraw money. The Dragon Depot is where we sell school supplies and Silver Creek merchandise, like t-shirts, sweatshirts, shorts, and even backpacks. We also have the Creek Cafe, which is our healthy snack shop, which sells different types of snacks like granola bars, goldfish, Cheez-Its, different gummies, and in the colder months for the students, hot chocolate, tea, or coffee. All of the businesses are run by the students under the supervision of Ms. Glazer. We also have the Kentuckianaopoly board games. Both board games, Kentuckianaopoly 1 and Kentuckianaopoly 2, were created by students and showcase local businesses from the Southern Indiana and Louisville region. The games are sold to businesses in our area, and all the proceeds from the games go to scholarships and charities. Now that we've talked about inside the classroom, I'd like to take a moment to discuss what we do outside the classroom as well. We have the opportunity to attend many different field trips over the course of the year. Just today, all of the students in the Academy of Finance went to visit University of Indianapolis to participate in the State Student Conference. We played a version of Financial Jeopardy, commodities games, and Monopoly to test our financial knowledge. We also have the joy of being invited to the Ventures Connector Luncheon each year. This luncheon allows the students to practice their networking skills and make connections that will help them in their futures. We attend another luncheon each year, which is the Rotary Business Luncheon, and students got to hear from Brian Johnson, who's the CFO of the Dano Seasoning Company. Coming up this December 6th, students will be competing in a regional competition hosted by the Business Professionals of America. We have students competing across almost all categories in accounting, business law, interview skills, and prepared speech. Last year's Academy of Finance students that received first through third place in the regional competition moved on to the state competition. And we had one student, Ben Estes, who is eligible to compete at the national level for both interview skills and extemporaneous speech. Looking farther into the school year, each February, students across all the career academies at Silver Creek have the opportunity to job shadow in an individual in a career field of their choice. We have students who job shadow in accounting firms, digital media spaces, elementary schools, and even hospitals in the area to get hands-on experience. Now that I've talked about inside the classroom and outside, I'd like to touch on some of the things we look forward to if we can go to New York. We would get to meet with a Silver Creek High School graduate who founded Sirius Capital and meet with him about what he does in the day-to-day while overlooking Central Park. We would go to the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and have lunch in Manhattan. We'd meet with an American Express representative and an accountant in Brooklyn, visit the Bronx School of Law and Finance to network. We would also visit Wall Street, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And we plan on seeing the Rockefeller Plaza, the Empire State Building, and Times Square. Lastly, the thing I'm most excited to see is a Broadway show to see the arts and how they're viewed in New York. Each of the students going would pay $1,800, and we will also be raising funds through the Silver Creek businesses like the Creek Cafe and the Dragon Depot. The dates we have planned for this trip will occur on Wednesday, April 2nd through Saturday, April 5th, 2025. We thank you for your time and consideration, and we'd like for you to ask any questions if you have them.
That sounds like a phenomenal trip, actually. I'm actually wondering, is there a spot for chaperones?
Do you need
I mean-
chaperones? That was also my question.
You did an amazing job
did,
speaking, by the way.
100%.
Thank you.
Maybe you're going to be a future board member.
Yes.
Public speaking, you did a really good job.
Thank you. I have Mr. Hankins to thank for that. He's taught me everything.
No, you did a great
Approved.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Chad, student performance data?
Yes, Dr. Swearens and Dr. Waters.
Okay, good evening. So this year, our presentation will look similar to last year, but we will be digging further into data and also sharing the plans that we had last year and our focus areas for this year, all of course based on our assessment data. The first thing that we want to show is our graduation pathways to success. And so this is our school data that is sent out from the IDOE. And so where the public can access this information is by going to our district webpage, clicking on the quick links, and then going to the school performance report. Dr. Balmer, will you click on Silver Creek Primary? So we are going to highlight various parts of these of the GPS and really focus on the pieces that are applicable to each one of the schools. So for example, when you look at Silver Creek Primary, they don't give any state assessment, so the big performance report for them would be attendance. So we're going to kind of go into this a little bit with you and how this works. So if you look down at the bottom left, you can see that their attendance rate is 52%. That is not the primary school's attendance rate. The state is wanting students to have a 94% or higher attendance rate. So when you look at this, that shows that 52% of the students at the primary building in 2023 had that 94% or above attendance rate. We're being compared to 1,063 schools, and I also want to point out that Silver Creek Primary is very unique in that it's a K through 1 building. And so they are being compared to schools that are K through 6. Okay, then if you look at the bottom, it shows that 30th percentile. So that means compared to those 1,063 schools, we were at the 30th percentile, so performed as well as or better than those schools in attendance. Then if you click that little toggle button, this will show you a comparison to schools that have similar free and reduced lunch rates. Keep in mind, again, this is a comparison. Our K1 is being compared to K through 6 buildings. So that does reduce that comparison number to 332, and that puts us at the 4th percentile. So our schools, and especially the primary building, they understand the importance of attendance. That is a priority to them. We know that if students aren't in school, they're not learning. So they are working really hard on their systems to make sure that they are monitoring attendance. I know they are doing that in that building in particular on a weekly basis. They're making those phone calls and contacts with parents to help support our families with improving attendance, and also creating attendance plans, individualized attendance plans along with families in situations where improving attendance would be a focus. Okay, then if you go back to and click on Silver Creek Elementary, and for the elementary, I would like to point out their iRead scores because that, of course, is unique to that building. In the middle tile, it says 3rd grade literacy, and in 2023, we had 80.7% of our students that passed the iRead test. And that puts us at the 56th percentile. So being compared to that 1,063 schools, again, that's a comparison of K through 6. We were at the 56th percentile, so scored as well as or better than 56%. But then when you click on the toggle button, then that does that 332 comparison and puts us at the 14th percentile. I also want to say that that was from 2023, and when they took the test in 2024, our pass rate was 84.2%, so they saw a 3.6% improvement. Some of the things that they're doing at the elementary to help improve literacy is they began giving, of course, we're focused on our core instructional block, which we're going to talk about that in a few moments, but they're really focused on identifying students' needs earlier. So Mrs. Myers elected to participate with the iRead 2 pilot program last year, and that was the first time that our 2nd graders participated in the, iRead test. And basically, we were able to get those individualized scores to identify what each child's point of need is, and they were able to start providing intervention at the start of this school year. So those students will be getting intervention the whole entire school year before they then take the iRead 3 test again.
All right, so if you'll go ahead and click on SCM for me, Dr. Balmer. So this is the middle school's performance report, and you can also see that they've got attendance as well as I Learn English and then math. And this is the percentage of students 6th through 8th grade that were proficient in ELA as well as math. So that's an average there. And again, you can toggle, you can see how we're compared to certain schools, and then we're compared to schools that are similar to us and the percentile that we fall in. So teachers are given this information right away. With it being online, they get that within a matter of weeks after taking the assessment. And so we have that right at our fingertips at the beginning of the school year, and even in the summer if they want to utilize that to plan during the summer as well. So if we go back and then look at the high school is a little bit different. And I do like Dr. Swearin said, I do want to just remind everybody, this is from 2023. So this is some old data. So the high school has attendance as well as the SAT performance. They've got college and career coursework as well as graduation rate. And just so you know, the college and career coursework, that's the percentage of students that took and passed an AP test with a 3 or better, or they took and passed a dual credit class. So that's that percentage. The SAT performance, that's a composite score where they're looking at those students that benchmarked the English, reading, writing, and the math. And that's just a composite score. So that's looking at 11th graders back in 2023, the spring of that year that took that test. I like to look at our historical data. So Dr. Baumler, if you'll go back and then go to the next slide. And if you'll click on our historical data, and the community members and parents can find this data on our website under curriculum. And what we've got here for you is not only the ELA iLearn data, but we also have math data. So I'm not sure if that, yeah, we've got our math data there. If you click again, you will see social studies, science, and biology test data. If you click again, the naturalization exam, that's an exam that seniors will take after they take government. And that's the percentage of students that pass that exam. And I think then we've got iRead, and then the last one on here is the SAT data. But Dr. Baumler, do you mind to go back to the ELA iLearn? I just want to show the cohorts that we have. Yeah, that top one. Thank you so much. So with the cohorts, if you look, and if I can get this to work when he does the slideshow. Okay, so it's color-coded by cohort, but you can also look at it by grade. So let's see if I can get this little thing to work. Yes, okay. So we look at our 4th grade right here from 2023. That's the percentage of students that were proficient on iLearn ELA. If we then follow the orange down to 2024, this past spring, that's how they did on 5th grade ELA. So you can compare cohort to cohort, or you can compare grade to grade. The other thing that we have on here is the state average. So we can also look at how we fared as far as the state average is concerned. Can you go on to the math one then? And again, this is comparing the cohort as well. If we look at 7th grade in 2023, that's the percent proficient there. And then in 2024, you can see an increase. So the nice thing is we did increase from 2023 to 2024. And all of our teachers have this data at their fingertips. They analyze this data. They look at the data. If you don't mind to then go down to the next one with the science. This is one that I really want to give a big shout out to our students and our science teachers. If you look from 2023 right here, our 4th and our 6th graders are the ones that take science. Look at the jump in 2024. They did a fabulous job. And then even the high school, look at biology students in 2023, how they scored proficient, and then 2024. So I want to give a big shout out to them because that's obviously some hard work that they put into that to do so well on that exam. And then Dr. Baumler, if you'll go down to the SAT. All right, so this is the one that I like to look at because it's the percent proficient from each cohort. So this 24 right here this spring, these are our current 12th graders because they take the SAT the spring of their junior year. This is concerning to me when I look at the math part. And we've given this information to all of our teachers. They have it at their fingertips to analyze and look at. But I was also concerned because when you look across the state, the math scores declined across the state. So I asked the College Board, what happened? Why did they decline? And they gave me 3 reasons why that they saw. So I'm just going to let you know what they said here. They said this was the first year that a full cohort of students across the state is reflected in the results. So this includes a greater variety of student ability, different abilities that took this test. Secondly, this cohort, so our current seniors, they experienced the pandemic not only in their 7th grade, but also their 8th grade. And those are 2 huge grade levels when it comes to the math that they're learning. Thirdly, the student scores are determined by whether they answer questions right or wrong on this online SAT. They also take into effect the difficulty level and also the probability of students guessing. So that also is reflected there. So the SAT analyzes responses to items they've got a first module. They analyze how kids responded in that first module, and then that's the types of questions students get in the second module. So there's more precise scoring with this SAT online. It accurately measures students' knowledge and skills with fewer questions and less time. So students aren't taking a test for hours upon hours. It's not as long as it has been in the past. So our high school math teachers have all this data. They have fully engaged. They've thoroughly analyzed the data. They're working really, really hard to develop DMRs. They've created effective PSAT and SAT test prep activities, as well as they've enhanced their pacing guides to better support student success with math.
Okay, Dr. Balmer, will you go back up to the historical data? Click back on there, sorry. Click back on historical data and right here on iLearn ELA. So I want to point out a couple of things here before we move on. So every year we are looking into our core curriculum. We are evaluating our curriculum and making decisions for improvement. When we are looking at our student test scores, we're looking at 2 different things. We're looking at how students are performing in a grade level from year to year. So for example, in 2023, our 3rd grade students performed a 38.8% pass rate. The following year was 41.7%. So we saw that improvement there. I also want to point out though that particular in 2023, those students were kindergartners the first year of COVID. So kindergarten and 1st grade, those pivotal years of learning how to read were impacted for those students. So there's lots of holes being filled in for those kids. When you're looking at your 3rd grade scores from one year to the next, it's a different group of kids each year. So there's going to be scores some years that go up a little and some that go down. But overall, those scores should be on an upward trajectory, and we should see improvement if we are refining our core curriculum. The other piece is, like Dr. Waters pointed out, we should also see growth from one school year to the next. So those 3rd graders in 2023 passed at a 38.8% rate. The following year, as 4th graders, they performed at a 47% pass rate. So when we're digging into our data, we're looking at our curriculum, we're looking at both of those things.
All right, Dr. Balmer, if you'll go back to our slideshow. Thank you, sir. All right, so as we reflect on what we accomplished last year, these were our areas of focus from last year. So the first one that we had there, we did create an updated pacing guides to have a laser light focus on aligning the instructional blocks from K to 12. Then we underwent reading textbook adoption for K through 5th grade to align with the science of reading mandated by the IDOE. We applied for 3 waiver days. This shows the main academic focus while including building level needs. And we also have a waiver day committee that helps plan those days. We applied for and produced the first SO-IN Summer of Learning for 2024 that focused on incorporating technology in the classroom. We had a keynote speaker on building thinking classrooms, as well as a spotlight speaker on artificial intelligence. And then our 2 main grants, the STEM grant and the robotics grant were both aligned with our academic excellence pillar in our Silver Creek School Corporation strategic plan.
This year, we are focused on identifying an online assessment platform. So previously, our school district did not have an online platform, and our goal really is to align our technology resources to make sure that we are giving students opportunities to assess with technology-enhanced questions. The assessment should look somewhat similar to iLearn, so that students are used to that, and having those frequent assessments so that we're monitoring learning, so that we know where students are throughout the school year, so that we can make those interventions early on. We wanted to find a platform that would allow teachers to create their own assessments, to be able to pull in assessments that maybe they already were using, pulling in assessments from textbook resources, but also a product that was going to help reduce the amount of time for grading, and also that would support data analysis, and a tool that would allow teachers to sort and analyze students to reflect on our subgroups as well. It was also important to find something that would provide additional support to students. So we give an assessment, we analyze the information, and then we're able to assign questions to students for independent practice. Our committee did select Pear Deck to be that assessment platform. And the positive thing was it met the needs that we had, but it was also significantly less expensive. So that was nice as well. Once teachers are trained and they're using Pear Deck to assess students, then we can begin to have our district-wide system-to-system data meetings to really dig in and analyze that data. And during those meetings and conversations, we're going to look at those positive data trends, identify standards that are weak in our district, and then align that vertically so that our students have those foundational skills that they need in each grade level to be successful at the next grade level, and then to be ready for graduation. Having those data meetings will also help create that sense of urgency, and it also clarifies that, for example, when a student takes iRead in third grade, it's not a third grade test. It's K through 3 work that goes into having that student ready for that assessment. When an 8th grade student sits down and takes iLearn Math, it is not an 8th grade test. It is that accumulation of K through 8 work to get to that level. And we'll say the same thing about high school. When a student gets to high school and we're looking at graduation, it's not just the 12th grade teachers that impact the student. That is K through 12 work. So it's the responsibility and work of all of us to make sure that our students have what they need so that they can be successful in that next stage of life. We have also looked at math textbook adoption for K through 12. Prior to Dr. Waters and I arriving, the district was looking at math textbook adoption, but at that point in time, they held off. The reason being was the state standards were changing, so we wanted to make sure that we had clarity on what the instructional standards were going to be, and that the textbook companies had time to catch up and make sure that their materials were updated. So we are reviewing that again now. We've provided a lot of professional development even before we arrived, the year before we arrived, last year and this year, on conceptual instruction. So we really want to make sure that students understand the why behind the work that they're doing in math. Without moving forward with the math textbook adoption, that leaves us with schools that are not vertically aligned. So we have multiple textbooks being used across the district, which doesn't allow for consistency. So now, once we go through this process of identifying the math textbook that we would like to use as a district moving forward, that will solidify that math core curriculum. And it will also ensure that students receive the same type of instruction. So for example, if I had twins and they were in the same grade level in different classrooms, each one would be exposed to the same level of rigor, the same curriculum. The teachers may teach it in a bit of a different way, but they will be exposed to the same information. We're also focused on our universal design and strengthening universal design. And so that really just means what is the instruction that we're providing to all of our students in a grade level aligned to state standards. We have a goal of our students to be at 80% or higher proficiency. When they're not, we're starting to dig into our tier 2 and tier 3 support. So basically that just means there's a block of time in every student's day that they get additional support. So for a student that has benchmarked or benchmarked on a standard, we're pushing them forward. We are accelerating their learning, while a student that maybe needed a little more time on a standard, we're going to intervene and give them additional practice and support. And so that's that time of the day we have been working on, especially K through 5, and we're beginning that work too at the secondary levels. We're continuing to focus on math instruction and solidifying that tier 1 or that core instruction and providing professional development, math textbook adoption. For reading, we're continuing that work on the science of reading, research-based instruction. Our primary building is participating with the literacy cadre this year, which is a wonderful opportunity for our teachers. So basically, our primary coach is going into classrooms and coaching teachers. But then the beautiful thing is she has a coach that coaches her and works with her. And that is going to make a huge difference for our instruction in our district. We also have recognized that writing is a need across the district, across the curriculum. And based on our test scores, we can see that our students are struggling to respond to reading and writing. So that is the next step for us, is to be able to support our teachers with that tier 1 instruction and to provide professional development to help with how do you scaffold that instruction when you have a student that comes in and they've struggled. What can we do to help that child become a better writer? So that is our next focus area. Dr. Waters mentioned the waiver days, and we do want to thank you for approving those waiver days. They give us an opportunity to provide that ongoing professional development based on what the needs are in each individual building, but then also what those needs are across the district. We've shared some information about some of the grants that we have applied for and or received. The McKinney-Vento grant, the STEM grant. We have a guiding coalition that meets monthly that's working on our ultimate goal of being STEM certified in each one of the buildings. And then our buildings applied for a robotics grant. We received the Amy Krauss Rosenthal Foundation that provided 500 copies to the elementary school on the book Exclamation. And unfortunately, we did not get the 21st Century Out of School Time grant. Dr. Waters and I and the team were really sad about that, but we will continue to look for opportunities to provide our students that additional tutoring. And we have applied for the Summer of Learning Conference, and we'll find out on Friday whether we are recipients again. But again, we will continue to seek out additional grant opportunities that support our district pillars. So our focus continues to be aligning our systems, improving those tiers of instruction, and making sure that our staff have the resources that they need to be successful. Now, I want to say change takes time. It takes 3 to 5 years to see improvement after you've made a change. So last year, we adopted the reading text. We're implementing it this year. We've seen some improvement, but it's going to take 3 to 5 years to really see the improvement from that new curriculum. And I kind of think about this visually. So we have our data and we have our goal that we're trying to reach. And those are connected with a spring. And you need just the right amount of tension between your data point and your goal. And as your data point increases towards your goal, the tension in that spring weakens. And I kind of liken that to our sense of urgency. So then we increase that goal, increase that sense of urgency, and it's a continuous cycle of improvement and getting better. But there is that delicate balance because we are working with people, we're working with teachers, we're working with kids. We can't push people too far too fast. So it's the timing of things and the pacing of things to, again, make sure that we have just that right amount of tension to get where we want to go ultimately. Do you have any questions for us? That was a lot.
I just want to say thank you for all the work you put into this presentation. For one, it's nice to actually see it in front of us because we actually haven't had that. I also think it's great for the teachers, the students, the constituents, because at the end of the day, people come here for the education, and to actually not just talk about it, but to actually see the vision, see the plan going forward, that's huge. And so I truly appreciate both of you all putting so much time into this, because at the end of the day, if we're only getting better, that's how we're going to succeed. So, and thank you for doing that, because I know my kids definitely appreciate that. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, one last item under recognition and presentation. This is actually a letter of thank you from Lanesville Community Schools to Silver Creek School Corporation. Some of you know that Lanesville Community Schools suffered a tragic loss amongst one of their students recently. Lena Jacoby tragically passed away in the last month or so. And as they were responding to that, they reached out to us, and we were able to send over a couple of our therapy dogs. And their superintendent, Dr. Ryan Apple, who had hoped to be here this evening, but he realized they had a board meeting. So he sent a letter on his behalf. But he says, "Dear Silver Creek School Corporation Board, Superintendent Dr. Chad Briggs, staff, and community. On behalf of the students and staff of Lanesville Community School Corporation and the entire Lanesville community, I extend my most sincere and humble thank you for your time and effort in helping our community heal from the loss of Lena Jacoby, a beloved student at Lanesville High School. As our students and staff dealt with the overwhelming grief and shock of Lena's sudden passing, the staff and therapy dogs that came to be with our school corporation played a crucial role in assisting us in dealing with the very real and powerful emotions of the sudden passing of one of our own. As a former Silver Creek teacher and coach, it warmed my heart to see the overwhelming assistance and support from the school where I began my career and where my son still attends. The actions of Silver Creek School Corporation in giving assistance to a neighbor in need truly shows what is special about public schools and Silver Creek in particular. As a former employee and the father of a current Silver Creek student, I couldn't have been prouder of my former colleagues and the leadership of the school corporation in which I send my son. Your willingness to assist a neighbor school district in need as it dealt with the most terrible situation that befalls a school community will never be forgotten by those at Lanesville and in particular by me. Thank you sincerely, Dr. Ryan C. Apple, Superintendent, Lanesville Community School Corporation." And one of our therapy dogs might be here this evening. So as you can see, he's worn out. So, but thank you to the middle school and the elementary. We appreciate you guys making yourselves available and being able to assist them.
Susan, do we have any community input? All right. Dr. Ballmer, Financial and Operations.
Yes, good evening. We'll begin by looking at our monthly financial report. Again, just a sneak peek here at the Education and Operation Fund, which is the main two funds we leverage for our school district. Again, at the Education Fund, beginning in budget year 2024, the balance was $5,133,791.11. Our revenue through October of 2024, $20,416,952.48. Expenditures through October, $19,628,727.64, with an ending balance of October of 24, $5,922,015.95. Our percent spent of our DLGF approved appropriation for 2024, we are 78.2%. Max percent would be 83.3. A few things to note there. We will see both revenue and expenditures increase. Revenue will just as went up this last November tuition payment, not what was reflective on the IDOE 54. That's due to about the 100 kids that we did gain here this fall. And all the expenditures will go up. And again, that has to do with additional staffing, but also addressing employee raises. Just this last pay date is when our bargaining unit, our teachers and our counselors, raises went into effect with back pay. So again, you'll see both of those continue to increase. Moving into the operation fund, beginning in 2024, $3,538,444.73 was our beginning balance. Revenue through October, $5,563,537.55, and expenditures through October, $6,504,233.16, with an ending balance in October of 2024 of $2,597,749.12. Out of our approved DLGF appropriation for 24, we were 75.3% spent. And again, a max would be 83.3, and it is common at this time to see expenditures exceed revenue because the main revenue comes in June and December with your tax settlements. When we pay property taxes. In addition, there on the finance side, as we prepare to roll our curricular material fund, as mandated into the education fund, as mandated by the IDOE this year, we have met with principals and treasurers. Wanted to thank them for their time to establish our budgets for our curricular materials. So thank you, principals and treasurers. We work very hard to continue to prioritize and equip our staff with the educational materials they need to be successful in the classroom while being good stewards of our state dollars. And as many school districts, the per pupil amount we're receiving does not completely fund that, but we continue to look ways to scrutinize those expenditures and also be creative with creating more dollars for that purpose. On the operations side, just want to thank Mr. Smith again for all his hard work. The new addition is open, and there was a ton. He took on quite a bit of onus, him and his team, with the technology, equipping all that. Just want to thank him for that, and also setting up the professional development for the ViewSonic PD for our high school staff to ensure that they're maximizing those instructional tools in the classroom. And in transportation, just want to thank them. We just had our first biannual bus inspection, and we're glad to hear that we got a very good report on that. So thank you to our transportation team for all their efforts. And you may notice a new bright, shiny bus out there. Bus 339 is now out there on the streets in alignment with our bus replacement plan. But it's a new 78-passenger bus that our students are hopefully enjoying. It is very nice, and glad to see a new bus in service for us. And also on food service, just want to give Mr. Sinclair a shout out with his continual seeking to maximize and be good stewards of the dollars for our food service fund. He does partner with, one way he does that, he partners with KLIC Co-op. And in last year, in 23-24, we saved $20,224.91 in our food purchasing by leveraging them. And on the construction side, just want to thank everyone who came out to the ribbon cutting. Want to thank Dr. Briggs, also Mr. Roundtree for speaking. We appreciate that. But just, it was a wonderful event. Want to thank 1SI for preparing it. I think a lot of people enjoyed touring it afterwards. And while the main addition is now open, there's still much work to be done. We are currently in a heavy demolition phase, which is phase 3 of the project, which encompasses about another 120,000 square feet of the high school that they're currently beginning again demolition. And then, just like it happened here, we'll tear down and then we'll build it back up. It's going to be neat to watch again. The auditorium work continues with our storefront entrance now completed. If you drove by there, you can see that. And there are many acoustical properties in the auditorium, and they're currently mapping out one of those, which features our sound cloud. So kind of interesting how that's all getting mapped out there and how to play a big part of the performances. We do still anticipate an opening in February for auditorium, but we are at the mercy of supply chain and waiting for our seats to arrive. We still hope they will be here early February. And that's all I have for operations finance.
All right, any questions for Dr. Balmer? All right, Dr. Briggs, consent agenda.
Okay, under consent agenda, letter A, finances, we have numbers 1 through 4. Under number 4, numbers 1 and 2. Under letter B, personnel, 1 certified, we have 1 appointments, letter A. Number 3, leaves, letters A and B. Number 2, classified. Under number 1, appointments, we have letters A through D. Under number 2, resignations, letters A and B. And under letter C, other requests for approval, we have number 1, field trips, numbers 1 and 2. Number 2, grants, numbers 1 through 4. Number 3, agreements, numbers 1 through 3. And number 4 and number 5. And that is it for the consent agenda.
All right, do we have a motion to bring the consent agenda to the floor?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Ms. McDaniel seconds. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, number 8, discussion action items. Action items number 1 is the resolution for approving the project, setting dates for the preliminary determination hearings of the 10 and 1028 hearing, authorizing reimbursement of expenses for the bond proceeds. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So move.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up was the additional debt, is the approval of the additional debt service appropriation that we had our public hearing on before we started the board meeting. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I so move.
Mr. Grove makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Building committee reports. Ms. Campbell? Ms. Myers? Ms. Nunn? Dr. Willman? Y'all gonna stand fast.
Stand strong, stand strong.
Dr. Waters?
All right, y'all don't kill me. I do have something from health services and it is important. So, School Smiles Dentistry came to provide care to interested students who do not have a regular dentist locally. This is a great resource for many of our students who might not see a dentist otherwise. At the primary, 28 students received care. At the elementary, 42 students received care, and 7 middle schoolers also received care. So, big thank you to our school nurses who facilitated these visits. School Smiles will return in April for additional needs. Our first graders were visited by Henry the Hand, champion hand washer, and his friends who provided an interactive presentation on the 4 principles of hand awareness and proper hand washing. So way to go, first graders. Also, Catch My Breath, an evidence-based vaping prevention program, was rolled out at the middle school for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders during Flex. Thank you to our teachers and all nurses for their work on this. Additionally, as an alternative to suspension for first-time offenders of tobacco and or vaping, Director Casey, Nurse Jerry, and Nurse Amy are all taking action to help students quit. Our goal is to decrease repeat tobacco violators by identifying students who may be addicted or at risk of becoming addicted to vaping and provide them education, resources, and if needed, support to quit. So I just thought those were some important things just to bring out there. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Dr. Swearens? Dr. Diggs?
I did not know that Henry the hand washer was such a thing. I think that's pretty cool.
And you didn't feel it was necessary to share that with us, have you?
Well, I made comment to Mr. Roundtree here, and so I thought, well, I guess you're wondering what I was mumbling about. I just, again, congratulations, Officer Cordy. Thanks to Mrs. Glazier and her students who came out this evening. If you guys have a safe field trip, I know it'll be great based on the sounds of it. Dr. Swearens, Dr. Waters, thank you for the school data update. Much appreciated. And that's all I got.
Dr. Baum?
I think he covered everything.
All right. Ms. McDaniel?
Just the same things that we are thankful for in all our recognitions tonight. So thankful for Officer Cordy's time here. I'm so excited for your students. I'm not at all jealous. And thank you so much for the time you took to present us with that performance data. And I'm just so grateful we have these community relationships to share the special things that we have to help students like our therapy dogs. So thank you all.
Mr. Bash?
I'm good.
Ms. Franklin?
Just real quick, just want to give a shout out to the community again for stepping up. We stocked the Silver Creek Food Pantry. The holiday meals are going out for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's just always a huge help to our students and families. So super proud of the community and for everybody that stepped up to make that possible. Amanda Albrian leads that over there, and she does a great job. So kudos to everybody.
Mr. Crum?
Ms. Glazer, do they like the new space over there for? Yeah, very nice. Good. I was wondering how it all went smooth. You still?
Are board members allowed to do that?
Oh, okay. There we go.
All right. Hey, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving break next week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Next upcoming board meetings are going to be December 10th. We have a special board meeting at Silver Creek Middle School in the GPR, and then December 17th, regular scheduled board meeting here at the elementary school. With that, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I so move.
Ms. Franklin moves. Do we have a second?
I second.
Ms. McDaniel seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 7:34 p.m. Reminder, executive session board meeting follows up in room 107.